Let's run! Come on, people, let's go!
Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our continuing series, the Unported Playlist, where I take a look at some of my favorite unported arcade games of all time. Today we're taking a look at 2006's Alien Extermination. Now I will say right off the top before we get too far into this video, this does have flashing lights, so this is your warning. If you have any epilepsy issues, maybe don't watch this video. If you don't, we'll get right into it. Alien's Extermination is an absolutely outstanding light gun shooter. It's that classic early 2000s vibe where it's just action-packed from start to finish. And of course, because it's in the Aliens universe, it's got that really sci-fi futuristic horror vibe to it. Is this the best arcade light gun game I've ever played in the genre? No, but it's B-tier cheesy good, and it's action-packed from start to finish and gives you everything you want from a game. Now this was made by a company called Global VR, and I featured one of their games previously on the channel. That was Fear Frightland, the sequel to Haunted Museum from Taito. They're not a massive arcade maker, but they do make a lot of arcade games that you may see in arcades now, and they're very sort of good but not great. And I don't want to knock Global VR or anybody who works there. They're just, you know, kind of like a B-tier developer, but that doesn't mean they can't make great games, because I love Alien's Extermination. From start to finish, this game is just throwing so much in your face, so much detail, that it is really fun and interesting to play. It's just not the best thing ever, I guess is what I'm trying to say. This is like a B+ when I wish it was an A+, and that's just because I love light gun shooting games. I can sometimes be critical of them, but what is on offer is so much fun. I will say though, this game is incredibly hard. Luckily, we're playing this on Techno Parrot, so there's no credits involved. It is on free play, and I have an Xbox One controller in my hand with that analog reticle. You can play this with a Sinded light gun as well. It just gives me a little bit of issues when I'm capturing, so I go controller. But however you play this game, if you're into the Aliens franchise, if you're into light gun games, you owe it to yourself to check it out. You'll see there that we have that flamethrower, and it does have a tank, and the ammo does have a counter. You need to shoot flame up items as well as magazine clips and grenades in the background to add them to your stock. Now this is why I'm taking this game to a B+ from an A. I've never loved this mechanic in a game because it puts you at a disadvantage. You're trying to collect ammo while enemies are running at you. I much prefer the button to reload or the shoot off screen to reload, because that you can control on your own. You will end up in situations in Alien Extermination where you're low on ammo, you've got an enemy running towards you, and you're not sure, do you shoot the clip or do you shoot the enemy first? It's kind of a quarter munching technique for sure, but everything Aliens is here. We have the ducts that we're walking through, and I'm not sure who at Weyland-Yutani decided that every air duct needed to be tall enough for a human to walk through. It seems a little bit excessive, but hey, it makes for a good arcade game. And what I really appreciate about Alien's Extermination is just how destructible the environment is. You get to blow so much stuff up, and it does nothing but cause damage. And at the end of each level, you get a damage meter of how much monetary value you did to the facility while you were going through. It's actually to your detriment, but I don't really care about the high score. I'm just in it for the fun, so you can just destroy everything from start to finish and watch it blow up. And that's what we're here for, shooting aliens in the face and watching things explode. Now, the first level is action-packed and awesome until you get outside and encounter the first boss. The rest of the bosses in the game are quite fun, but for some reason this boss is just a SATCOM tower that you shoot in the middle. It's a little bit of a bummer when it comes to the first boss. It's fine, but it's not great. But this game does a lot of fun things with the soundtrack and that tracker as well, so go ahead and listen for like 35-45 seconds, enjoy some of the soundtrack, and I'll come back and talk more about Alien's Extermination. And if you hear some weird stereo blending, I think it's just a glitch in Techno Parrot, so be aware of that. But enjoy!
Follow me! They're behind us! Look out! Here they come! Coming out of the wood! Signals. We're under fire! Ammo!
It's hard to call that a soundtrack. It's more like ephemeral industrial noises that are happening in the background, but the facility that you're in has this kind of industrial hum of machinery with that eerie tracker beeping in the bottom of your screen with alien noises coming out. So it's more like a soundscape than it is a soundtrack, but it's really effective for what the game is doing. Now you'll see here that I'm just shooting aliens and grabbing clips. Every once in a while the game slows down a little bit and you're waiting for aliens to jump in front of you, and that can kind of ruin the pacing ever so slightly, because this game is at its best when you're moving quick, aliens are just rushing you, and you're unloading all those clips on them as you're getting really close to attack. So I wish that maybe they hadn't slowed it down in certain spots. You do get a decent variety of enemies. It's not the biggest, but then again, the Alien universe doesn't have that many monsters. You're going to get the classic alien, you're going to get face huggers, you're going to get cyborgs, you're going to get aliens popping out of chests, and that is basically about it outside of the bosses. But honestly, you can't blame Global VR for not making too much out of Whole Cloth Up, because this is a genre and franchise that people really know the universe for, so trying to create their own thing probably would have been, from a design decision, not the best thing in the world. Now, if there's one other complaint I have about this game, is it's definitely designed for 2 players. There's so many aliens coming at you at once, they're on both sides of the screen. When 2 aliens jump in front of you in a 1-player game, you are basically guaranteed to take damage if you don't use a grenade. So this game feels ever so slightly cheap. But honestly, it's an arcade game. They all want your quarters, and the #1 measure of success for an arcade game is how much it makes the operator. So you can't fault it too much, especially when you're playing on free play. But the other thing is that you can cheese bosses. If you have that flame unit and unload the clip at the same time, you can see that we're really able to take that life bar down. So the bosses, while fun, aren't the most challenging thing in the world, which is fine. I mean, boss fights are there, they're always good, but I actually like everything before a boss fight in a light gun game more than I do the actual boss itself. And you'll see there when we're reading the mission briefing, the aliens jump up and attack you through it. And that's another moment where it feels slightly cheap. The level hasn't started as far as the mission briefing is concerned, but if you don't hit start and clear that screen off, you're going to start taking damage before you even have a chance to finish reading it. So again, maybe a little bit cheaper and quarter munchery than it needs to be, but when I'm not putting any quarters in the machine, I'm really complaining about something that doesn't affect me, so who really cares? But what is here is so much fun. This is so much better than the more recent Aliens arcade game that was released. I prefer this much more, and I don't even mind the fact that it runs in 4x3. It's great on an Xbox One controller. If you have a Sinden light gun or other light gun set up for your computer, it also works really well, so there is no issue with the control of it. And as far as the stability, I played this from start to finish multiple times and never once crashed. It's super solid for me. I love that we get this ultraviolet mode here as well when we put those night vision goggles on and all the aliens take that purplish bluish almost ink hue to them. It is just a ton of fun. And the progression in this game is awesome as well. Each level has its own unique vibe and graphical style. As we get further into the facility here, you're going to see that there's more alien architecture inside of it, and the actual man-made architecture starts blending into the background a little more because the aliens are taking this facility over. And you can't complain about an alien chest burster just popping through, and if you don't shoot them quick enough, they're going to jump right at your face and cause you damage. Now, if I had to guess at how many credits I used to beat this, and I did not count, it's probably in the like 30 to 40 range. So if you were paying $1 a credit, which is kind of sometimes the standard arcade rate now, you're spending $30 to $40 to see the ending of this game. Would I consider it worthy of spending $40 to play it? I would not. But that's just me. Your mileage may vary. If you have a 2-player game, it probably takes a lot less quarters, because I have tried this on 2-player, it's just too hard to capture, and there's not really that many more aliens, but you have a second gun to be able to shoot around with what you're dealing with, and that is what this game is optimally designed for, a 2-player game. But you can't complain about bosses like this. Alien Dragon. It's an alien with wings. I don't know the Alien franchise perfectly. Maybe this is something they made up, maybe it's not. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me if the Alien Dragon's real. I could have looked it up, but it's easier just to ask you guys. But yeah, Alien Extermination is a ton of fun. It's early enough in the 2000s where it still has that late 90s vibe to it as far as 3D arcade games are concerned, but it's late enough into the 2000s where graphically it still looks relatively modern and good. The only thing that makes this game feel aged is the fact that it is a 4x3 game versus a 16x9 game, but honestly, that doesn't bother me that much because what's here is a ton of fun. But leave me a comment down below. Have you ever played this game before, and do you know of a cabinet for it currently? I haven't seen it in Chicago in a really long time. That doesn't mean that there's not one out there. I haven't been to arcades in a few years because obviously with what's been going on in the world, it's been hard to get out. I might not put this video up for 6 months, so maybe that's already over by now. Fingers crossed. But short of that, yeah, if you want to play this, download it for TechnoPaired and give it a go. Do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and the notification bell definitely helps me out. Got a Patreon link in the description below as well if you feel so inclined, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.